and the spherical domes and conical domes. So what is the difference? You can say these are the practical examples. The planetarium roof is an example of a spherical dome, or the top of a water tank is an example of the spherical dome. So the spherical dome is generated by the revolution of a circular curve about its vertical diameter. So here this curve is getting rotated about this axis in this direction. You will get a domical or you will get a spherical dome like this. Whereas the conical dome is generated by revolving a right angle triangle about its vertical axis. So these are some of the examples of the conical domes, the practical engineering examples. So here this right angle triangle is getting rotated about this axis. You will get the surface like this, which is called the conical dome. So coming to the application, as I have mentioned before, these are used as the roof of the circular areas. You can see here a planetarium, the roof of the planetarium, then circular water tanks, exhibition areas, auditoriums, and the bunkers and silos to roof, then bottom of the tank. So you can see a lot of examples around you as the application of the domes. And
Yes, ma'am, any trouble?
yes, I'm getting a message to annotate the content. What should I do?
No, nothing, ma'am. If you need, you can do annotating in your screen. If you want to point out something, you can use those annotation buttons. Okay, ma'am.
Okay. Fine. So otherwise, I don't need to use that, right? But
okay.
Hello, can you hear
Yes,
me?
ma'am.
Okay, fine. Okay, now depending upon the materials used for the construction, you can have mud domes as visible in the screen, or stone domes, wooden domes, glass domes, metallic domes, concrete domes, depending upon the type of the material that we use for the construction. Or it's some. Now we'll see the analysis portion. First of all, we need to analyze the stresses. So once these domes are subjected to a loading, there will be stresses as like any of the structure. So how the stresses are to be evaluated. So here, unlike the beams, columns and all, it's not a regular type of things or the regular types of stresses coming here. Whatever you have studied till now was on shear stress, bending moment, or bending stress kind of thing. So here, because of the shape, we'll have a different types of stresses coming in this. So how to analyze that? So the domes can be imagined to consist of a number of horizontal rings placed over one another. So this is you can see in this figure. So like this, a number of horizontal rings are placed one over the other. This is for the analysis purpose. Our assumption is like this. And then the diameter of the circular rings increase in the downward direction. So if you consider this ring, the diameter of this ring is getting increased, right? So the diameter of the successive rings increase in the downward direction, and the equilibrium is maintained independent of the ring above it. Then we call the latitude, the circles of each ring as the latitudes, and the circle drawn through two diametrically opposite points on the horizontal diameter and the crown. So for example, we'll have the latitudes like this, the horizontal way, the meridians like this. So this point on the horizontal diameter, this point, and similarly you'll have a point in the other direction, right? So, and those 2 points and connecting the crown, if you draw a circle, you will get the meridian. So similar to what you have studied in last semester's astronomy paper. So this is the frustum of the spherical dome. You know that the plan is like this, and this is the latitude, and this is the meridian, right? Then another assumption what we make is successive horizontal rings subtend equal angle at the center of the sphere. So these horizontal circles, we said like this. So these horizontal circles subtend equal angle at the center. Then yet another assumption, the joint between the successive horizontal rings are radial. So you can see that this is the joint I'm talking about, and these joints are assumed to be horizontal, or sorry, these joints are assumed to be radial, similar to what you have studied in arches. The joints are radial, and you have studied about the Vousier's and all. It is the similar kind of unit that we are talking now. Every horizontal ring support the load of the ring above it and transmit it to the bottom below it. This is the horizontal ring, and this carries the load of the one above that. Similarly, this third ring will take care of this 1, 2, first one and second one. So similarly, the load is getting transferred between the rings, and the bottom will take the weight of the all other rings above that. Now, the reaction between the rings is tangential to the curved surface. So whatever we have studied in the beams and all, the reaction is always in the vertical direction, right? Here, it is actually happening in the tangential direction. So that is very important to understand, because this tangential force will give rise to compression along the meridian. So this is the meridian, and along the meridian it will give rise to compression, and this kind of stress is known as the meridional thrust. So that is one point. The first type of stress we are talking about in a dome is the meridional stress, which is happening in the tangential direction, tangential to the curved surface, and this is happening because of the weight of the rings, and this is giving rise to a compression along the meridian, which is known as the meridional thrust. I hope that is clear. So the first kind of stress we talked about was on the meridional thrust. Now, the plan of the Vaussier. So this, or the plan of the horizontal ring, this is I'm talking about. So as you go ahead in the top direction, this diameter is going to reduce. So you'll have smaller rings inside this one. Suppose this is one ring, and this is the plan of the ring. The plan of the ring is assumed to consist of a number of Vaussiers, or these units. These units, I said, these units have radial connections, and the tendency of separation of any Vaucier will be prevented because of its wedge shape. So you can see that it's in a wedge shape. So many Vauciers are placed like this, and here the compared to this one, the diameter is less. So because of that, you'll have the wedge shape coming, and the tendency of separation of any Vaucier is prevented because of this wedge shape. So because of that, what will happen? This will create a kind of hoop compression, right? So this will create a kind of hoop compression in the, and why this is happening? This is actually happening because of the weight that is coming in the meridional direction, and this is an effect. This hoop compression is an effect of that. So I just tell you again. So we'll have different components, latitudes and meridians, and the weight of the weight of the topper one is coming to the lower one, and that reaction is tangential, which is called the meridional thrust, and we'll have the wedge shaped rings for the Vauciers. The joints or the horizontal ring is imagined to consist of Vauciers. The joints are radial in direction. So because of that, it creates a kind of hoop compression in each ring. So this is the second type of stress which is coming in the dome. We have meridional thrust as well as we have the hoop stress coming in a dome. So just to make it clear, this is the direction of the meridional forces, and this is the direction of the hoop forces. So you know that the hoop stresses are acting along the latitudes, the meridional thrust is acting along the direction of the meridian. So obviously you need to provide the reinforcement to take care of this thrust. So you need to provide the reinforcement to take care of the meridional force like this. To take care of the hoop forces, you need to provide the reinforcement like this. So that is the reinforcement pattern that we should give in a dome. So now coming to the analysis, the detailed analysis is available in the textbook. So I'm not going in detail about the analysis, but we will give thrust on the design. But we'll have two categories of domes. One is the spherical dome, second is the conical dome, and in the spherical dome itself, the domes is subjected to a uniformly distributed load. The dome is subjected to a concentrated load at the crown. So these are the two cases. Then on the conical dome subjected to a UDL. So these are the three cases which you have to study and do the analysis and also the design. So this is the force W, which is like the uniformly distributed load. So what we have in a beam like the UDL that is coming there, here the load is the W, which is actually acting in an area. So it will be in kilonewton per meter square. R is the radius of the dome. T is the thickness. Capital T indicates the meridional thrust, and capital H indicates the hoop stress. So the formula is capital T, the meridional thrust is equal to WR divided by 1 plus cos theta. Capital H is equal to WR cos square theta plus cos theta minus 1 divided by 1 plus cos theta. The detailed analysis is available in Purmia's text. So you may go through that. Until now, the analysis is not asked in any of the university examination, but there are chances that it might get asked. So you should refer to that. The definition is very, very or the derivation is very, very simple. And the positive sign indicates compression. So you know that at the crown, theta is equal to 0. So what is theta? Theta is this angle that one ring makes with the vertical. So this is theta. So at the crown, theta is equal to 0. You can see here. So when theta is equal to 0, what will happen? Cos theta becomes 1. So you will get T is equal to WR divided by 2T. H also you will get WR by 2. And in many cases, the intensity is specified. So intensity is actually the stress divided by the thickness, or T. So that is what at the crown, the intensity is equal to H by T for the hoop stress. So which is equal to WR divided by 2T, and this is the maximum value of the hoop stress. The hoop stress decreases as theta increases. So it will keep on decreasing as the theta increases and become 0. And then it may go to the tensile regime. So what is meant by tensile regime? You will get the value in a negative sign, with a negative sign, because the cos theta component coming in picture. So depending upon the angle, you might get a negative value. Then theta, when hoop stress becomes 0, is 51 degrees, 49 minutes, 38 seconds. You can do the derivation and find all these things. It is clearly written in the textbook. Now, the second case, this is a practical situation. Like in a church, you have a cross coming on top of that. Or in a dome of a mosque, there is a structure on top of that. So it is actually similar to a concentrated a dome subjected to a concentrated load at the crown. So let W is the concentrated load, then R is the radius of the dome, T is the thickness of the dome shell, capital T is similarly similar to the previous case, the meridional thrust, H is the hoop stress. So we can see that T is equal to W by 2 pi R sine square theta, and H is equal to minus W by 2 pi R cosec square theta. So this is the equation. These are the equations which you can derive from the basics. And here the important thing is H is negative. So that means the H you are getting in all cases as tensile in nature. And at the theta is equal to 0, what will happen? It is theta cosec square theta is there. So that means at theta is equal to 0, H becomes infinite. So that is, if any concentrated load like lantern and all is, if you are providing like this, you should give a sufficient distribution area so that it reduces the hoop stresses at the crown. So that is why you can see in this picture, it's not a concentrated load given at the top just like that. So they have taken sufficient area for the distribution. Otherwise, it will lead to infinite stresses, which can lead to cracking and other effects. So that is the outcome. So at the crown, theta is equal to 0, h become infinite. So you should provide enough area for the distribution of the load, so that it can reduce the hoop stresses at the crown. It's also desirable to thicken the dome at the top to spread the load over the greater area. So that is also another option to take care of this huge stresses coming because of the application of a concentrated load at the crown. Okay. Now, what will happen if there is a combined UDL and point load? So here the UDL is generally coming because of it's not like in a slab and all, the live load is not that much. Like the people movement is not that much permitted, right? So here the loads are coming onto this because of the environmental effect, like the snow load, and obviously some kind of live load is there. So that is the load, small w we were talking about, and also the concentrated load, that is like this, which is coming on top of that. So if you have a case like this, so there it's the load, the combined load, it's not only the live load that is coming there, and also the dead load that is coming because of the weight is also considered as small w. So in this case, because we have stresses due to UDL here, the self-weight and environmental loads, and a point load, so here these stresses will get added up. That is the important thing. So you need to algebraically add the stresses due to UDL and the stresses due to the concentrated load to get the final stresses. So in the text, you can see the formula like this, where they have calculated this coefficient for different values of theta and then getting this value. So I don't think you need to mark up all these things, but you need to understand or study the formula for these two cases for the circular dome. One is for the circular dome or the spherical dome subjected to UDL, meridional stress, and and hoop stress, and the concentrated load the circular dome subjected to concentrated load, the meridional stress, and hoop stress. So these are the requirement, and once you have the formula, vary the values of theta and find out the values of the stresses at different locations. So you may think that for the beam and all, we have WL square by 8. Or but then for this one, why you need to go for a different values of values like this? Because we know that the maximum value for the stresses are happening at the center point in the case of bending moment, or in the case of flexural loading. So that is why we take WL square by 8. Here we don't know where exactly the maximum value will come, especially when we are going for the combination of loads. So that is why we are finding the values of the stresses across the different values of theta, and then finding out the critical value, and then doing the design for the critical values. So the stresses due to shrinkage, wind load, temperature stresses are actually the analysis of that is very tedious. So what we do generally is we'll take an extra loading of say 1 to 1.5 kilonewton per meter square on over the surface of the load. So this is kilonewton per meter square. So please understand that this is the small w value. So in addition to the self-weight W, what we calculate, you need to add this wind load, shrinkage and temperature stress. Right. Okay. Now with that understanding, we will see the principles of design of RC domes. Similar to the thumb rules what we have for the design of beams, slabs, etc. There are some thumb rules. Why these thumb rules are given? Because that will reduce your effort. Anyway, design is a trial and error process, so we need something to start with, and if you follow the thumb rules, your number of iterations can be reduced. So that is why we follow this. So the minimum thickness to be used is 7.5 centimeter. Minimum steel in both directions. The directions means both in the meridional direction as well as in along the latitudes. It's 0.15% of the cross-sectional area, and this reinforcement is in addition to the hoop tensile stress. So what is that? We will understand while doing the problem. Then the steel reinforcement is provided in the middle of the thickness of the dome shell. So we need to give a cover. So that is why in normal cases we provide the reinforcement at the middle of the thickness of the dome shell. Then near the edges, a hogging bending moment may be developed, and the meridional reinforcement is provided near the top surface. So you know that like, how should I on the annotation? Hello, how should I on the annotation? Switch on the annotation. So I'm just trying to draw it. So it's very difficult for me to draw in this platform. Let me try it again. Okay. So you might develop the hogging moment at the edges. So sometimes, like in the beam, we will have the sorry that I'm not familiar with this kind of tool. So suppose suppose your beam is like this. This is the fixed end, and here you might get a bending moment distribution like this, right? So here this is the hogging moment, this is the sagging moment, right? So in the same way, at the edges, this at the edges of the dome, you might get a distribution like this. So this is the hogging moment, or this is the sagging moment. So in this case, we are providing the reinforcement where the tensile stresses are developed, right? So in this case, you may have to provide the reinforcement near the edges. or near the top surface. So to take care of this moment like this, you may have to provide the reinforcement at the edges. Whereas for all these cases, we may provide the reinforcement at the middle. So that was the gist of this one. And okay, next is a very important concept on ring beam. So what is a ring beam? A ring beam is a beam in a ring shape or a circular beam like this. So what I point out now is the circular beam or the ring beam. And suppose you have a hemispherical dome. So that means you can imagine to be a semicircle, full semicircle. So in that case, what will happen? The stresses, I said, at the top, this is the direction of the stress. Then the stress, the material stress direction changes, and at the end, what will happen? The stresses will be in the tangential to this surface. That means it is in the vertical direction, right? So in that case, we don't have much problem because that thing will come directly to the supporting foundation or whatever it is. But if our dome is not a semicircular one or not hemispherical, what will happen? In this case, your component, the stress component will be, material stress component will be something like this. Let me try to annotate. So here, it is something like this. So what will happen then? This stress will have a, it's very difficult for me to draw it in this. It will have a horizontal component as well as a vertical component for this stress, right? So if, one second. So I'm not able to draw it. So here we will have a horizontal component like this. We'll have a vertical component like this. The vertical component will go directly to the support, whereas we need something to take care of the horizontal component. And that to take care of that horizontal component, we provide a ring beam, a beam in the form of a ring at this junction point. So I'll read it. If the dome is not hemispherical, the meridional thrust will not be vertical, and the inclined meridional thrust at the support will give rise to horizontal component, which will cause supporting wall to burst outward, causing failure. So the force will be acting like this, and this is going to try to push it in the downward direction. So we'll have the stress like this, which will have a horizontal component and a vertical component, and this vertical component will go directly to the supporting media, whereas this horizontal component need to be taken care by providing a structure, or in other words, the ring beam need to be provided to take care of that. Otherwise, what will happen? This force will trying to burst your structure. So that is the necessity of providing a ring beam. And to bear this horizontal component of the meridional thrust, we provide a ring beam at the base of the dome. Then the reinforcement provided in the ring beam takes this hoop tension and it transfers only the vertical reaction to the supporting walls. The condition is that the tensile stress on the equivalent area of concrete on the ring beam section should not exceed 12 Newton per millimeter square. So equivalent area concept is coming from the working stress method of design, and the working stress method of design is actually I don't think the S6 students have studied the working stress method of design in their first, second, and third module. So here we need to study the working stress method of design, and the working stress method is used for the design of the domes. And it says that the tensile stress should not exceed 12 Newton per millimeter square. Now coming to the placement of the reinforcement, here you know that we need to provide the reinforcement to take care of the meridional thrust. This is what is shown like this, and the hoop reinforcement is shown in the form of circles. Okay, so what will happen if all these meridional reinforcements are continued to the top side? What will happen? There will be congestion of the reinforcement. Okay, so there will be a lot of congestion, and this congestion, it's very difficult to place the reinforcement, and it is very difficult to place the concrete, and this can lead to a lot of issues. So that is why, for the practical consideration, we stop the meridional reinforcement at a certain latitude. Say, I stop the meridional reinforcement at this junction, at this latitude level, and then on top of that, we provide a mesh kind of mesh as the reinforcement, and this mesh acts as both meridional and hoop reinforcement. So that is the reinforcement details. So I said we need to take care of the meridional stress. So the meridional reinforcement, or the reinforcement like this, is the meridional reinforcement. Then the horizontal reinforcement to take care of the horizontal stress. And once we continue the meridional reinforcement, at the top there will be congestion of the reinforcement, and this congestion of the reinforcement, and to take care of that one, we provide the mesh reinforcement at the top by stopping the meridional reinforcement at a particular latitude. And suppose we need to provide an opening, what will do? And in that case also we will have to face the same issue, right? We will have a horizontal component coming there, and so what will happen there? This, we need to provide a ring beam there, and then do the continuation of the dome and the meridional. And suppose you want to provide an opening like this, similar to an igloo. So there you need to provide you need to stop the meridional and hoop reinforcement, and this needs to be well anchored to the trimming reinforcement. So you need to provide the reinforcement, or you need to stop the reinforcement like this, provide extra reinforcement like this, and then this need to be connected properly to this reinforcement, so that from here the stress will get transferred here, it will come here, and then it will come down to the bottom reinforcement. So like that, you need to give the load path clearly. And yeah, this is what I said. If there is an opening at the crown, and if there is any concentrated load acting, provide a ring beam provided at the periphery of the opening, right? So when you need to provide the ring beam at the bottom, if it is not a hemispherical dome, and also you need to provide the ring beam at the where you need to provide an opening at the top or somewhere the meridian stress is not getting transferred properly. Okay, Anjali, can we have the questions now? Or Swati, can we have the questions now?
Yeah, sure, ma'am. We have two questions.
Yeah.
What is process? How it do compression?
What is Wowsier? Wowsier, let me take up that slide. Oh, wait, 1 second. It's stuck. Please wait. The slides are not moving. So, okay. Can you hear me now? Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, this is the Wowsier, the slide where we discuss the Wowsiers. This is the plan of a ring or the plan of a ring which we considered the dome is composed of, and this is one ring. Let this is the ring I'm taking out, and then this is the plan of that. Agree? So here we assume that this horizontal ring is imagined to be consist of a number of smaller units, right? And this smaller units, what is the condition? These units are having joints which in nature. So suppose if I this is the center of my ring, and if I draw radial lines like this, all these are going to meet at the center. Okay, so this is the basic unit by which this ring is composed of, and this basic units are actually the joints of these are radial in nature. So you can imagine to be it consists of smaller units like this. So here the top diameter is more, the bottom diameter is less. So because of that, only the radial nature is coming. And because of this thing, like it's just like a wedge, right? So because of this wedge, what will happen? The tendency of the Wowsiers will be prevented just because of this wedge shape. And once the separation is prevented, what will happen? It will generate a stress in the segment, and which is called the hoop compression. So the Wowsiers, just because we assume that the separation of these Wowsiers are prevented, we'll have the we'll have the hoop compression generated. I hope it's clear now. It's just like the building units of arches which you have studied in your fourth semester. Yeah. Okay, next question, please.
Okay, ma'am. In dome, why only UDL is considered? Why no other loads?
Now, other loads are also considered, right? The concentrated loads are considered. That is what we have seen in in this slide. It's not only UDL; it is subjected to a concentrated load also. The capital W is the the concentrated load, whereas small w is the uniformly distributed load. Weight is uniformly distributed, the environmental loads are uniformly distributed, whereas if you're going for a construction like this, it is actually a concentrated load. We have discussed that. Yeah.
Okay, ma'am. How loop compression occurs in dome?
I have explained that in the first question, right? Because of the wedge action of the Wowsers, because the Wowsers are wedge shaped, it will prevent the let me take this slide. Yeah, the tendency of separation of the Wowsers are prevented because of the wedge shape, and hence once it is prevented, it creates a kind of stresses, and it is thus the hoop compression generated. Yeah. Next.
Okay, ma'am. That's all for now.
So next is on the design part. So what I'll do in this session is I'll try to complete up to the analysis part. To do the design, we need a basics of the working stress method. So working stress method, I'll start the next session, which is scheduled next Saturday, same time, with a basics of working stress method of design, and then we'll try to complete this problem. So I got another question: how wind loads affect the domes? We will have the wind effect, right? It is actually on top of. It is actually the roof, so that wind load coming on acting like this. So it will also impart the same kind of UDL onto the structure. Some other question came. Is it how will I see the question? It was coming as a snapshot and it's going. What should I do? Some questions came in between and it's just went before I read. It was just flashing. Hello, how will I?
You can check the chat
the
window,
question?
ma'am.
Where it will come?
You can see the right side. Right side, you can see the chat window.
Hide video view I'm getting. Swati's name, ASAP webinar. Regilla I'm getting. What should I get now? Active speaker window video. Show grid.
Ma'am?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Can I help
seeing
you?
the video. Yes, sure.
Okay.
How will I
What
get
do you
the
want
chat
to see,
window?
ma'am?
I want to see the chat window.
Okay, ma'am. It's actually, ma'am, in the system, bottom side, you have this mute video and share content window. Next to that, you have attendees list. Next to that, there is a chat message type. Message type.
Yes.
Okay, if you click on that, you can see the chat.
Yeah, some are telling that it's not audible. I'm having the first slide itself in window. Audio is not coming. Might be all these are network issues which I don't have. I'll not be able to do anything. You can annotate it on a sheet of paper and then sheet to us. Okay, let's try it then. How wind load affects the dome? Is it necessary to increase the Hello? Hello?
Yes, ma'am. Can you see that question? From Anya Thomas.
Yes, I can see, but somebody is trying to speak in between. It's not audible
Let me
like
check,
that.
ma'am. Let me check.
Yeah, meanwhile, the question is it necessary to increase the minimum percentage of steel in dome to 0.35 percentage if the diameter of the base of the dome is more than 15 meter? I don't know the answer for this. Is it necessary to increase the minimum percentage? What is the necessity of this? Anna Thomas. I don't know this answer to this. Let me check it, and during the next session we will. I'll try to answer this question.
That's fine, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. Fine. So let us go to the design example. Till what time we'll have the session?
Ma'am, we
Do we
have
need to
just
wind it up now?
just 3 minutes more.
Okay. So I'll not have much time to discuss this, but the students, you do one thing. This is the workout example in Punmia's text. So just try it to solve this, or at least till the analysis you will be able to complete. It's you have to design a spherical dome over a circular room, and the geometrical details are given, and yeah, that's it. The geometrical details and the loading is given, so you just have to design the spherical dome. So we will try to solve this problem, or discuss this problem, but if I start, I'll not be able to complete this now. Meanwhile, any other questions, I'll try to answer. I think that's it.
Ma'am, we have a question.
Yeah. Yeah.
Please
Tell me.
clarify whether permissible tensile stress in ring beam is 1.2 Newton meter square or 12 Newton meter square.
Can you repeat the question again? The ring beam.
Please clarify whether permissible tensile stress in ring beam is 1.2 Newton millimeter square or 12 Newton per millimeter square.
Yeah, 1 second. The text is written as 12 Newton per millimeter square itself. The text, it is written as 12 Newton per millimeter square. Compressive stress, anyway, we have to decide, because yeah, actually you need to look into the working stress method of design, and the permissible tensile stress in the working stress method of design is the limit for that. So please refer to appendix B of IS 456. The permissible tensile stress will be the answer for this question.
Okay, ma'am, we have another question.
Right.
How can we calculate how much reinforcement should we use in each dome?
Yeah, that you need to design, right? So we have not designed, we have not discussed the design. The preliminary steps only we designed. Depending upon the type of stresses, one also you need to check that with the minimum reinforcement criteria. That's it.
Okay, ma'am, we have another question. Which IS code we will use for this?
The IS code is actually IS 456 itself. The working reinforcement itself. We'll have the Meridiana steel as well as the horizontal steel. So we'll have the Meridiana steel coming like this and the horizontal steel. The same thing. The shape will only be different. That's it. So any other questions?
One second, ma'am. Top mesh to be designed.
I didn't get.
Is the top mesh to be designed?
I didn't hear. Could you please repeat?
Is the top mesh to be designed?
Yes, we have to. We have to design it.
Another question: Can you briefly show analysis of a case of concentrated load other than that at the ground?
No, that is not. No, that is not given in this textbook, and I don't think that is required as well. So how come in a practical way that kind of thing can happen in a dome? So that is and it's not a regular case. So in a BTech level, such kind of complicated things will not be asked. It can be analyzed. If you have a finite element model or something, you can obviously analyze that. It's not mentioned in your reference text.
Another question, ma'am. What is the usual size of the ring beam?
Usual size of the ring beam, normally we can provide, say, in say 200 by 200 or 300 by 300, like that we can provide the ring beam.
Okay, ma'am. Difference between spherical dome and non-hemispherical dome.
Spherical dome and hemispherical dome, right?
Yes.
Hemispherical dome is a spherical dome itself, but you can hemispherical dome is just like a semicircle. The half of the sphere is the hemispherical dome, whereas this is spherical dome, it can be the top portion also. It's not necessary that you should come to the middle or even to the bottom if you're considering that is all these are spherical dome itself, but spherical dome is hemispherical dome.
Okay, ma'am.
Components are coming in that.
Another question: How we fix the value of rise of dome? Is there any IS specification?
I don't think we have IS specification for this. We have to it's normally the geometry of the dome that decides this. Normally the architect decides the dome, the engineer has to design it for that. I don't think we have a specification regarding that. So whatever is the case, we are able to design if we can do the analysis properly. I don't think that will be a problem.
Okay,
ma'am.
Swati,
Another question.
actually the time is over. Can we wind up?
Yeah, we just have one more question. We just have one more question.
Okay.
Is the ring beam to be designed only in the case of a non-hemispherical dome?
Yes, otherwise the support need to be designed properly so that it can take the vertical loads.
Okay, ma'am.
But
That's all the
it's always
questions we
better
have.
in a practical scenario. I would always recommend to have a ring beam at the bottom, just that we don't have any accidental some cases are coming, then it can take up the horizontal loads. Otherwise, theoretically speaking, there is no need for having a ring beam there. No need. Yeah.
Okay, ma'am. That's all the questions we have for today.